Hello, welcome to the morning news. With the death toll from Saturday's deadly earthquake in Nepal surpassing 5,500, many residents are criticizing the government's response. Prime Minister Sushil Koirala visited 2 hospitals in Kathmandu Wednesday. This was his first hospital visit since the 7.5 magnitude earthquake devastated the country. Despite the arrival of aides and support crews from around the world, government officials acknowledged that it has yet to fully assess the aftermath of the quake. Many locals are frustrated. They say the government has been reacting very slowly and is not doing enough.
Now, but he come just looking and run away because we are looking for talk to something for him. He didn't give us face and he's run away. He's not good. He didn't like the Nepali people like this Prime Minister. We need the change right now, Prime Minister. We need to keep out from.
National Guard and Riot Police look to enforce the second night of curfew placed in Baltimore, rocked by protests over police brutality. Troops patrolled the streets in a row, with protesters continuing to defy the curfew called by the city's mayor. Earlier in the day, hundreds continued protests demanding justice for Freddie Gray, the 25-year-old black male who died from spinal injuries sustained while in police custody. Baltimore police also stated they will not be releasing a report on Gray's death. New York police arrested as many as 100 protesters at rallies in solidarity with Baltimore. Thousands gathered at Union Square calling for justice over the death of Freddie Gray. New York was also the site of mass protests over Eric Garner's death, who died while being arrested in police in August. As with many other cases, a grand jury decided not to indict the officer who choked Garner to death. The Brazilian police used tear gas and rubber bullets against striking teachers in the opposition-held state of Paraná. More than 100 people were reported injured in the second day of demonstrations over right-wing Governor Beto O'Rourke's plan to readjust state workers' pension plans. The teachers who were joined by students at the mass demonstrations said the adjustments would put their and other state employees' pension plans at risk. A final vote on the measure is expected today. Children's organizations and migration centers in Honduras are refuting claims by President Juan Orlando Hernández, who said migration to the United States had been reduced by 75% in less than a year. Our correspondent Gerardo Torres brings us this story.
After a 6-day visit to the United States, Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernández declared when he returned that there had been important advances in migratory issues. Several children's organizations, such as Casa Alianza, which work with very poor children, the majority of the unaccompanied migrants, reacted to the declaration.
There is a situation of expulsion of boys and girls that is growing. This year we have received more deported children from Mexico than in 2014. This means that there is an increase in migration. Different of what they assure that it has been greatly reduced. Always in January and June, the numbers increase. Last year we received around 1,100 children in the months of January to March, coming from Mexico. But in this year's first 3 months, we have received over 2,000 children.
For the national platform that represents children's rights organizations in the country, there is no possibility that the government can assure this, and believe it's just a plain discourse strategy.
If this were true, we will be celebrating such an important advance with the government, but until now, as an organization we have seen no background information that allows us to say there has been a reduction of 70% in the number of children migrants to the United States. We don't even know what the government's strategy is for the issue.
The president's declaration seems to assure that the humanitarian crisis that last year affected more than 30,000 children is solved. This probably will mean even more negligency towards Honduran unaccompanied migrant children. Gerardo Torres, teleSUR, Central America.
Vietnam celebrated 40 years since the country won reunification after a 35-year liberation struggle against occupying forces. In Ho Chi Minh City, a huge parade marched to mark the anniversary. Vietnamese President Nguyen Thanh Son, along with other top officials, were in hand as army regiments in uniform paraded. On April the 30th, 1975, Viet Cong forces captured Saigon, now called Ho Chi Minh City, effectively freeing the country and ending the long armed struggle that claimed over 3 million Vietnamese lives. Some 58,000 U.S. soldiers also died during the failed intervention. Since the start of the so-called Arabic Spring, Western governments and their allies in the region have been trying to divide the Arab countries. Nashwan Abdullah has more from Syria.
Ongoing Western aid for many armed extremist groups fighting in Syria and Yemen has brought instability to the two countries.
What is happening now in our region is part of the Creative Chaos operation, which was launched by the United States government. This chaos is destructive and is also an U.S.-Israeli plan funded by Arabic Gulf money. One of its most important factions are the Saudi-backed Wahhabi terrorists.
The majority of Arab peoples see the Saudi coalition involvement in aiding terrorist groups in Syria and in attacking Yemen as being in the interest of Israel.
We as Arabic people are united against any external intervention, but the problem is the Saudi alliance, which is a puppet for Western countries, and the UN Security Council is aiding them to control our nation.
After the fall of Jisr al-Shughur on Sunday to Turkish-backed terrorist groups, the Syrian army is continuing to target the extremists and managed to reposition many military points around the city in order to cut supplies to them and retake the city. Nashwan Abdullah, teleSUR, Damascus, Syria.
Meanwhile, Iran's Defense Minister Hossein Dakhar and Syrian counterpart General Fatih Zinfraya confirmed a cooperation pact between both countries to deal with terrorism. They also condemned the crimes committed by armed extremists, including systematic destruction of institutions and infrastructure, while criticizing the support funds and equipment provided to these groups by the U.S. and other countries in the region. The World Bank gave a bleak picture of Ukraine's economic performance of the year, days after President Pyotr Poroshenko hailed the plans for neoliberal restructuring. The financials sharply cut its outlook for the war-torn country, saying its economy will shrink by 7.5%, up significantly from the previous estimate of a 2.3% decline. The Ukrainian government and the IMF, who signed a $17.5 billion bailout earlier this year, projected a 5.5% decline. In 2014, the country's economic output fell by 6.8%, while its total public debt rose to $70 billion. As part of its loan, Kyiv has committed to implement massive cuts and privatizations. And the rare giant panda was released back into the wild after more than a month of treatment in a Chinese animal hospital. The 10-year-old female panda named Wenlong 2 was released into the Wenlong Nature Reserve after recovery from its sickness. Wenlong 2 was found sick on a mountain slope in the reserve by a local farmer and was later diagnosed with abnormal kidney function and malnutrition. After consuming 11 kilos of bamboo every day while in recovery, the panda was found to be in good health, according to the staff. More on these on our website, telesurtv.net/English. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.